So Borat, subsequent movie film, aka Borat 2, has dropped onto Amazon Prime, and it's a movie that, quite frankly, snuck up on everyone and has understandably got us all very, very excited. My name is Glenn, I'm a writer at Screen Realm, and I'm going to spend the next few minutes giving you my take on this follow-up to the cultural phenomenon that was Borat.
I like sex. It's nice.
So way back in 2007, Sacha Baron Cohen announced that he was actually retiring the character of Borat. And with the release of Borat, Cultural Learnings of America made benefit glorious nation of Kazakhstan, having polarized the world with its jarring satire, his character had become a household name. And I guess the ability to catch unsuspecting people off guard had become virtually impossible. And because of this, Cohen had to go on and create new characters like the Dictator and Grimsby, but then cut to 2020 with a really short time frame of fanfare. Amazon Prime revealed a trailer for Borat subsequent movie film, merely weeks ahead of its release, and it promised much more outrageous antics from Kazakhstan's fourth most popular journalist. And the question begged, how can Cohen maintain this provocative brand of humour in a world that looks very different to that of the previous film? And the answer to that question is by indulging his own personal politics. Of course, by now most people are familiar with Cohen and his tactics, and so in order to hoodwink his subjects, he resorts to tacky disguises and elaborate setups, much like he did in that recent television series. The film begins catching up with him, having been imprisoned by his government for disgracing their nation in the original film, and Borat is then sent back to America to make amends by offering up his 15-year-old daughter to the Vice President Michael Pence.
I brought the girl for you.
Their journey has them hopscotching across the country in a very similar fashion to before, but this time with a complete absence of surprise. Look, I do have to say that there is no question that Cohen is a comedic genius, and his brand of humour has been incredibly effective in illustrating various ignorances. He addresses issues of prejudice and bigotry by attacking them head on, and the result is historically gobsmacking. In this instance, however, his attempt to recreate his winning formula falls short of its intended outcome.
What? Yes.
With the narrative's gotcha flag points of Borat 2 being much more staged and less voyeuristic this time, it's difficult to determine who is actually in on the joke and who isn't, and where the pretense of the original film's deception was of an international film crew exploring American culture, this sequel has not got the luxury of a convincing excuse. Director John Walana, who has directed The Last Man on Earth amongst other things, has his camera intrude on almost every uncomfortable interaction, making it impossible for us, the viewer, to buy into the concept of everybody being caught off guard. But that's not to say that Borat 2 is not hilarious, because trust me, it is. There's a strange comfort in revisiting such a beloved character, and Cohen has managed to elaborate and in fact evolve him to a point of awakening. Of course, to have Borat come to certain social realizations does seem disingenuous to the character itself, and yet there can't have really been any foreseeable ways for Cohen to have produced a sequel otherwise. And the result feels less theatrical and much more like a follow-up to that 2019 TV series I mentioned, Who is America? And he isn't shy of lunacy, only this time around, he seems less offensive and far more, I guess, cautious of confrontation. Unlike the first film, there are no heavy interactions with extremists, nor are there any subjects pushed to breaking points. And with the production taking place during the whole COVID-19 pandemic, the limitations of Borat's interplay are really obvious. But with that being said, the now highly publicised finale involving a certain politician will definitely raise eyebrows, no doubt about it. Perhaps the one undeniable triumph of the film has to be Maria Bakalov's performance as Borat's teenage daughter, Tudor. She ought to share equal credit with Cohen on this one, because not only does she keep up with his improvisational wit, but she also wipes the floor with him. Her interactions with feminists and fundamental Christians are really brave and jaw-dropping, and one particular sequence involving a fertility dance highlights her absolute commitment to Cohen's vision. So yeah, look, it is great to see Borat again, and there is a lot of fun to be had in this unexpected sequel, but let's hope that this is where we leave him. The world has changed, and while my personal intolerance for political correctness does motivate me, I struggle to see how this character can survive today's world without sacrificing the very thing that made him a valuable spotlight on social taboos. And what a shame that the very people who Cohen's humour represents could be among those that actually misunderstand the irony and cancel his entire shtick. Either that, or they'll just sing his praises without acknowledging the sacrifice that's been made to appease their sensitivities. So anyway, Borat, subsequent movie film, like I said, it's on Amazon Prime right now. Go and check it out. I reckon this one gets 3 out of 5 stars.